Hey everyone, and welcome to my best books of 2025. I read a lot of amazing books in 2025, so today I'm going to be going through my absolute favourites, starting with the paperbacks, going into the hardbacks, and then the comics. So let's just get right into it. First up is I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast Is Me by Jameson Shea, and this one is about a young black ballerina who makes a deal with a pulsing river of blood under the catacombs of Paris so she can get ahead in her dance troupe, because she is constantly overlooked because she is black and the rest of the cast is white. And it all goes from there, and it is such a good look into ambition and what people will do to get ahead and to get what they want in life, while also talking about the love of ballet and all of this kind of thing. I went into this one and I did not know the slightest thing about ballet. All of my ballet knowledge comes from the movie Ballerina, which is a John Wick spin-off, which is not about ballet at all. The Black Widow movies, where you see a little bit of ballet in there, Natasha doing ballet there, and then also the movie Abigail, which is about a vampire ballerina, and again, not much ballet in there. I know basically nothing about ballet, but this is such a good job of explaining the love of it and the beauty of it and the dance moves and everything else. I thought that was all done fantastically well, while also talking about racism and ambition and what people will do to get ahead. Like I said, it is absolutely brilliant. I adored this one, and as soon as I set out to treat myself to a few books in the new year when the sales were on, I immediately bought the sequel to this because I need to know where this goes next. I loved it. Next up was a duology, and that is How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying and Everybody Wants to Rule the World Except Me by Django Wexler, and these are following a main character who has been transported from our world into this fantasy world. She's been told she's the chosen one, and she keeps on rallying the troops, going up against the Dark Lord and dying, and then going back again, having to rally the troops again, and then trying to defeat the Dark Lord, and keeps on failing over and over and over again, until one day she decides, screw this, I am not going to rally the troops, I am not going to be the chosen one, I am going to become the Dark Lord, and I am going to die trying. And it all goes from there, and this is so much fun to read. They're filled with footnotes which really reminded me of Terry Pratchett in the sarcastic nature of them. I really enjoyed those. I loved Darby as a main character as well. She was brilliantly unhinged at points, and I loved everything she was getting up to and all of the escapades she got into and all of the scenarios they ended up doing. The actual storyline is so clever in here. I loved seeing her as well, trying to embrace villainy while also still being very true to herself. It was hilarious, it was brilliant, it was exactly what I wanted to read in terms of a villain POV book, and I adored them so much. They were fantastic and an absolute highlight of my year. Next up is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, which is the third book in the Legendborn cycle, so I can't go into too much detail because it's the third book in a series and I don't want to be giving away spoilers in case anybody still wants to read this one and hasn't done it yet. If you haven't read it yet, get on it. Oh my god, this series is incredible, but this one, oh my god, this book is, I've got no words. To be perfectly honest with you, I have no words for this book because it was absolutely incredible. The character storylines, the expansion on the world even further, that plot twist cliffhanger ending, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. I've got no words further than to say this book was incredible, and if you have not read this series yet, get on it because it is so good and you need to be reading it. Next one is probably an obvious one for most people who have also read this book. I'm imagining this is going to be on a lot of people's lists, but Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, because this book was, I've got no words to describe this book, to be perfectly honest with you, because it was incredible. The way this told Haymitch's story was just beautiful but heartbreaking, but so well done. You could see like all of the connections that Suzanne Collins is known for starting to form in this one, in terms of the characters that we know and love from the original Hunger Games books turning up in here and seeing them as the younger versions of themselves, like Effie and Plutarch and people like this, was absolutely fascinating to read about. Seeing all of the connections start there, seeing the start of the rebellion with the Mockingjay and everything starting in this book. Oh my god, it was incredible, and the ending had me tearing up. Like, that epilogue got me. It was incredible to read. This book was I've got no words for it. I have no words for it. It was so good. And naturally there was also Derek Landy on the list, specifically with A Heart Full of Hatred and also A Small Matter of Impending Catastrophe. Both of these are part of the Skullduggery Pleasant universe, so I cannot go into any detail because these are like books 17.5 and 18 if I remember rightly, or yeah, probably about that. Either way, they are very, very far into the series, so I cannot give you too much detail. But again, the murder mystery in both of these were incredible. I really enjoyed the podcast version of this book. And then this one, the murder mystery, the slasher vibes, the plot twists, the deaths, I will never be over. I will say Derek Landy is in my bad books for what he did in this one, I won't lie. But I love them. I will actually leave a link up above to my reading vlog for this one so you can see my full thoughts on it if you don't mind spoilers or if you've read this series and just want to know. I just adore these books. I'm biased, but I adored these. They were incredible entries into the Skullduggery universe. I also have to mention Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson because this series is incredible. Like, I cannot get over this series. It is a witchy series and it is all about a series of witches who are essentially part of a government agency called Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and it is just one of the best book series I've ever read. I'm literally currently reading the third book right now, Human Rights, as an audiobook, and it's blowing me away already. I'm only 2 hours in, but both of the other books have blown me away. The storyline, the world building, the characters, the discussion this has as well around transphobia and things like this are all so sensitively done and so brilliantly done. The plot twists have given me whiplash and had me nearly screaming at like 2 o'clock in the morning finishing the audiobook. It's just incredible. I tell everyone to read this series, and it's just, everyone needs to read it, quite frankly. Everyone needs to read it. It is an insanely good series. It needs far more hype. Seriously, if you love witches or fantasy books in general, read Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and definitely do it via the audiobook because Nicola Coughlan does it beautifully as well. Like, her audiobook narration is incredible. I will never be over it. And then the final book before I go into the comics has to be Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. Because I knew I was going to love this book. It's V.E. Schwab. I love her books. But this is also about vampires. And like I said, vampire era is not in it. Look, I'm literally wearing a Lestat t-shirt right now. I adore vampires. And this is actually inspired by Interview with the Vampire. And it was just perfection. It was absolute perfection. I loved all of the different timelines. I loved following all of these characters throughout their journeys as they become vampires and learn more about vampirism, all of this kind of thing. I loved the relationships in here and how dark and like obsessive they were and toxic they were and all of this kind of thing. It was just incredible. It's a chunker. I flew through it. This was definitely one of my absolute all-time favourite books of the year and possibly one of my favourite ones V.E. Schwab has ever done. And then as for the comics, first up I have to mention Derek Landy's Doctor Strange in Asgard series because again it's Derek Landy, I have to mention him. But Derek Landy writing Doctor Strange in Asgard, there's a murder mystery, there's a lot going on, it was done brilliantly, the artwork was gorgeous, the storyline itself was amazing, I adored it. I also need to mention Kickflip by L.D. Lipinski and Logan Hanning here. This was fantastic. This is a contemporary novel about a young non-binary person discovering that they are non-binary, and it was done beautifully well. It reminded me so much of Heartstopper. It was so relatable even as someone who is cisgender. I really enjoyed it. It was beautifully done. The artwork in here is absolutely gorgeous as well. It looks like this. And it is just a lovely, warm story about finding yourself, accepting yourself, and finding people who also accept you exactly as you are. And it was beautifully done. It was my first ever L.D. Lipinski book. It is not going to be my last. I also really need to mention the Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty, Symbol of Hope, and Cold War run. This was done by Tochi Onyebuchi, Colin Kelly, and Jackson Lansing. And this one is following the idea of Steve and Sam both being Captain America at the same time, and what happens when the two of them and Bucky discover that there's essentially a secret cabal out there that is essentially ruling the world, and what happens when Bucky kills one of them and actually joins their ranks as the Revolution, and it all goes from there. It is brilliantly done. The plot twists were great in this one. I loved how it really delved as well deep into the lore of Captain America and the actual symbol of Captain America and what that means. Everything else, this was done brilliantly well. Again, the artwork was gorgeous throughout as well, and I just adored it. Then I also have to mention these two Thunderbolts runs. The Jim Zub run is an amazing run which focuses on Bucky saving Kobik, who is essentially a 4-year-old sentient cosmic cube, meaning that she's essentially a reality warper. She is essentially an Infinity Stone made human, but with all of those reality warping powers, and it is so much fun to read. He's trying to save her from S.H.I.E.L.D. and everybody else who could want to use her. He has found a group of semi-reformed villains who are trying to do better, to essentially try and help him like look after her and things like this. I love the team dynamics in here. I loved Bucky's relationship as well with Kobik. It was done beautifully. I lived for the moments where she kept on calling him Buckaroo. It made my fangirl heart very, very happy to read, I won't lie, because it was so cute, and I just loved their relationship. I loved how it was done. I thought it was fantastic. And then the Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing run, World Strike, was also fantastic as well. This is more of a similar team build up to what you see in the movie, and I really, really like this one because they're just taking down villains. They're finding villains, they're rolling in, they're knocking them down, and it's just plain fun. I really, really enjoyed this one. I love the team dynamics in here. I love the team build up. The artwork in here is absolutely gorgeous, and I just adored it. I thought it was fantastic, and definitely is one of my favourite Thunderbolts runs so far. I cannot wait to continue it on this year, going into World Under Doom, which I'm going to be reading in time for Doomsday in December. And then the final one I have to mention is Berserker by Matt Kindt and Keanu Reeves, and how I would describe this is, imagine John Wick is immortal and is working for the government to try and figure out exactly who he is, what he is, and if he can ever die, and that is kind of the storyline of this. It is incredible. I adored every single second of it. It had me within a page. I was so invested immediately. The artwork is gorgeous in here as well. I cannot show you a single panel because a lot of it is very violent and gory and bloody, and obviously I do not want to be showing that in case anybody is like triggered by anything like that, but this was so much fun to read. I was immediately invested. Like I said, as soon as I finished it, I looked up to see if there was any more in this series, and there is another volume at the very least, and a spin-off, and then a movie adaptation is coming as well, which is so exciting because this will look amazing on screen as well. I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited to continue on with this series as well because it is so well done. I adored it. And that is my favourite books of 2025. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me if we have any of the same books on our favourites list. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a book stack emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to my second channel, which is dedicated to Marvel Comics if you want to get to know Marvel Comics a little bit more, or if books are more your thing, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But till next time everyone, bye!